Alright, what's going on? What's going on YouTube? I really can't see the stream yet. I'm having the technical difficulties that YouTube's been giving us. I think I'm live. I'm pretty sure I'm live. What the? It's really frustrating of YouTube. So I'm just gonna give me just like a moment to an error has occurred. You guys can see me, right? I can't see the playback. Just drop me a comment if you guys can see me live on the tube. I know you guys on Facebook can see me as well. Just gonna do our normal market update type thirsty Thursday. Sip and click. We can trade with Saber. It's been pretty wild. It's gonna be kind of a GME WSB edition. I'm gonna start with those charts because there's a lot of bag holders out there, man. And I feel like these bag holders need to know how bad it's going to get, if they're going to get any exit pumps. I'm going to start with AMC and so forth. All right, Jam, we're live. You got the thumbs up going. So one thing you got to look out for is some dead cat bounces, right? So for all the bag holders, or if you're holding bags and you're stuck in these charts that are down a lot, there's a saying, even a dead cat bounces. And that's also valid on markets. So I mean, if AMC does get a dead cat, I think like $13 is probably the deadest it's gonna bounce, if it even does that, right? And then back down. I bought some $9 puts yesterday just to be an asshole. There's another 61.8, which is, how did I fib that? I don't know why I bought the. Oh, I think it was like an intraday. It was totally an intraday move that I did that, and yeah, that's why. So based on this fib off like here, I figured it would stay under 9, so I bought those puts. But I mean, it's kind of time to get out on a dead cat bounce if you guys do get a dead cat bounce. GME. Technically speaking, if this is gonna dead cat here, it's looking like it should. It's doing like an Adam and Eve formation. Like 126 would be lucky. Just gonna go ahead and drop these targets on the chart and fix this chart. I think like 128, 126 would be a lucky exit. I did not trade any of these, right? 180 would be nice. And I think, like, I don't know if it's going to get back up to the 300s, right? Like, these would be, like, good get out and, like, tuck the tail under. And we'll talk about, like, why these trades didn't perform or why they stopped performing. And the whole time, if you guys want to hear me rant about this, the whole time the squeeze was happening, right? So everybody on Reddit and the news is like talking about how Reddit is squeezing these charts. But I spoke to my friend who's an insider. She pretty much built the CBOE. And what she was saying is that the true squeeze happened from the pension funds. What pension funds do is they own a lot of these shit stocks, like the teacher's pension fund, right? And they lend them out into lending pools, and then that's when the people like Melvin, they borrow those shares and they short with them, right? So what happened was when the pension fund sees a run starting, they start calling back their shares. They start saying, hey, we want our shares back from this lending pool. At that point, those banks are forced to cover, right? So even though Reddit started the little bit of a squeeze, it wasn't until the lending pool said, hey, give us our stock back, because that's what really engaged the squeeze, right? And then what happens during that run, these pension funds have been bag holding for a long time, so they say, you know what, we're gonna dump it. So a lot of the supply didn't come from you guys' golden hands or diamond hands or whatever the fuck that was. It was the pension funds. They squeeze the chart and then they dump and they let go and they make that cash. Like the Ontario pension fund made $500 million, right, off these pumps because they recalled the stock and then they sold it. And then while you guys are saying hold, don't sell, hold, don't sell, hold the line, know this. Go through your broker agreement, whether it's Robinhood, TD, Ameritrade, all your brokers. In that agreement, it says that they can lend out your stock, right? So if you know it's in your account, you don't physically hold it, and they can still lend it out. And that's when more short sellers come in. And even though the stock's in your account, it's actually being used to short without your permission, because you gave them permission when you signed up for that brokerage account, right? So these are things you have to understand. Nokia, I mean, I don't know, like even a dead cat on some of these are hopeful, right? Like, I mean, this one didn't even 61.804 and just gapped down. So the market's going to evaluate itself no matter how much you like the stock, right? That's my opinion. I've been doing this for some time. And yeah, let's hop into BTC. You know, things were looking toppy. And we'll talk about stocks and stuff. Things are looking toppy. I still think this thing is like, I think it's topped out. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that we're going to get a secondary break. It's above the 61.8, which is bullish, but I do think it's a little bit bear trappy. You know, we did get some news about Ether being listed on the CME on the 8th. That's in 4 days, right? 4 days until Ether is listed on the CME. And when Bitcoin was listed on the CME in 2017, that was December, right? That was the top. So are we going to see the same thing on Ether? I don't know. You know, everybody thought BACT was going to be bullish, and BACT didn't do anything, right? We continued on the bear market after BACT. So time to, like, you know, if you haven't scaled out, think this is a good time to scale out. I've been scaling out and trying not to like get back in at some of these highs, because we're going to correct at some point, right? If this does continue up, I think realistically like 45 is good. Once we get to that 46 range, you know, I still expect a 61.8 correction. I still want to see, and the reason I say that, not because I'm a perma bear, we still haven't seen one of these savage wicks to the downside, right? We haven't seen this. We haven't seen any of these moves on Bitcoin this consolidation period. And usually in a bull market, you're still going to see these 61.8 moves before we see a new high, right? Like this one, we haven't seen that. Swing low to swing high, 61.8. We have not seen that. So I'd like to see one of those. I mean, you had such a big swing, man, and the 61.8 of this one's like 18,000. So I see a lot of people on like YouTube, on Instagram saying, "Oh, GME was a distraction. Buy crypto, buy Bitcoin." It's like, dude, why would you buy something at the top of a run? You just went from one FOMO move to another FOMO move, and that's not right. You know, like buy low, sell high. That's how we trade. What's up, Marshall? All right, Ether. So I was thinking Ether might blow off here pre-CME or post-CME. We're seeing this rising wedge that broke out. This really reminds me of the pre-CME era in Bitcoin. I'm just going to compare these charts side by side. I posted this in Discord the other day. Oh, that's GoPro. We'll talk about GoPro. Delete. We'll talk about GoPro. It's like a really big bag of mine. Hopefully I'm right about it. But so before CME, I remember seeing like this rising wedge on Bitcoin. At that point, I'm like, it's like a really ascending triangle. But I don't know if you guys remember this big old rising wedge on Bitcoin, and it freaking went on a tear, and that tear was the terminal one, right? Back in 2017, and it really just shot up. And then so we might see something like that happen on Ether. If we do, I think the target where this one was like 2600, right? And I'm not saying we're totally going to 26, but if we do go to 26, consider that like a blessing and a good place to scale out, right? So 22.5. Just refibbing this, you know, we got a lot of resistances coming. 1970, 22.9, 24, 29. I'll update this as it develops. But how we got the top on the BTC wedge, I'll recenter that chart a little bit. So it wasn't this one swing. I think it was the breakout actual swing that gave us a good top. Yeah. All right, so, you know, 17.61, it wasn't the absolute top, but getting out somewhere here in cash, you know, if you did that, you were super smart, right? Because we saw what happened. I'm not saying that's going to happen. We're going to have that same type of bear market on Ether afterwards, but we should see some kind of correction take hold. And the breakout swing of this wedge would be like this high, right? So I had it as a 26. Let's call it 2416, 2600. Could be the blow off target for Ether. I'm not like holding my breath for it. It's just something that is a possibility. It's a possibility. All right. Let's talk S&P. Let's talk QQQ. So we did see a little bit of a bear trap unfold, right? And as it did, I'm like, guys, there's a 61.8 here. We should be safe with a close above 371. And that's what happened. Bounced, you know, went low below 61.8 and then closed above 371. Kind of looks good for continuation. We still have that major fib extension at 387 that we have not rung. So that's still like one of my targets here. And this is a long-standing weekly fib off the entire S&P extension, right? And if you look at this chart, I'm just gonna like redraw this. If you look at this chart, you know, it's been complying with these extension levels for some time. We're looking for like a 380s, possibly even 400. And what really makes a fib extension valid is how price has acted and reacted to it previously. And when we see like this constricted range and then a breakout and then 216 being absolute support, then we can definitely assume that 396 is going to be the next move, right? So and that's kind of how I trade now, how I assess my charts. There's no such thing as definites in a market, right? So we kind of have to keep that into consideration. And I gotta like make this fib a little tighter. There we go. That makes a little, yeah, 392, 387. I think we can get up there. So, QQQ, nice bear trap past few days. I was talking about this the other day in Discord. Look here, we're doing this bull flag. I think we're gonna see an extension from tech. Apple had a nice bounce today. Hopefully AMD gets a nice bounce. I've not been tracking Microsoft because it's a boring as heck stock to trade. I do think QQQ is gonna smack that 336 as the next extension target off this smaller range. eBay, have not seen eBay pre-market. I saw eBay yesterday. We do have 60 calls, 65 calls on 219. I was expecting this move on eBay for a while now, right? 219 and 319 have 65s. So let's go ahead and take profit on the 219s at open today. All right, if you have 319s, good for you, because the next extension up is $82, and that's pretty solid, right? For a no hype, just a technical move, you know, going to 82 is going to be kick ass with 65 calls. And you know, we're already 63. We're already almost in the money. What else? QS, man, I signaled this one yesterday, and it's looking really good. Look at that gap up, right? This was a technical move, falling wedge, 60% plus down from its all-time high, And let's not hold our breath on this one, right? We just gotta maybe take profit on partial and then let the rest run. But this is nice. And there's two ways to really get a target. I don't know which way we're swinging. It's hard to confirm before we actually see what price does. So our first 61.8 is at 61.18, and our second 61.8 is at like 97. But if QuantumScape gets moving, it's gonna be awesome, because I haven't really dabbled a lot in the EV stocks. I tried to short NEO, and it didn't really work out well for me. But having some calls in an American company that's making American batteries, and solid state batteries, and Bill Gates is a big backer. Like, this one's pretty interesting, and I just came up on it screening for charts that are down off the all-time high. We're buying down charts when people are freaking buying hype. Like, come on, man, how you gonna buy hype? All right, I've been holding a bag of EOS and XLM. Let's look at lumens. I've got a bag of lumens. BTC chart looks interesting. Now, if BTC has a pullback, I'd imagine a lot of these alts are going to catapult back. This really reminds me of this era. You know what? Let's just keep this chart on the left side. And I'm going to pop up. I don't know if you guys remember I think it was Bitcoin gold fork. When all altcoins just freaking dumped, man. And they stayed suppressed for so long, and then they had like a beautiful run. I think it was right here, right? And yeah, it was like October 18. No, it was before that. Notice this Binance. No, we gotta go to the Bittrex chart. It was this era, December. No, but like we've seen alt cycle like just kind of come down and do this real terrible down move and then rebound. So if we get a BTC pullback, which we should soon, we could see things like Lumen start making up moves. In terms of BTC pair, now let's look at like Lumen USD, just kind of get some realistic dollar targets, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what's starting to matter these days the most. Don't like the Coinbase chart. I think 65 cents for Lumen is like a really nice target, which is like another 100% from here, right? That would be nice. Maybe $1.13 if we go in a full-blown alt season, right? And go ahead and kind of circle some of these. Just kind of, these are two targets I'd look for. 65 cents and $1.13. I've had these fibs on this chart for a while now. EOS. You guys on YouTube, smash that like button, man. Help us out. I get a lot of haters like on my silver video. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I had a lot of haters at like 14 dislikes, and just because I'm speaking the truth, I'm really objective with everything, right? And people don't want to hear that. They want to fucking buy hype and they want to get wrecked, and if you tell them otherwise, they're gonna say, "Oh no, it's a bad video." I think $6. If we get an EOS run, a solid before that, there's a smaller 61.8, and that's where the chart keeps rejecting 393, right? So if 393 doesn't hold, mother effer. Smash that like button. Keep smashing it. Go ahead and like spam the like button, please. Even you guys on Facebook too. So 392, right? So gotta get above there, and if we do, then we're trading the bigger 61, which is 6.1. Whoa, 60. Look at that. That's like freaking wicked math there. 61.8 is a 6.18. right? So I made this video saying, hey guys, like if you buy silver, just know that the banks have an unlimited supply of it. Like they own the freaking supply. And I'm not saying this move is over. If we zoom out, it is let's go like the weekly. All right, it's holding 26, and it's really important for a chart to test support before it moves back up, especially these like long-term traditional assets and metals. Like and looking at this and comparing it to the ether chart now, ether chart today looks like silver, except for, you know, we're just slightly higher on a new all-time high. But I mean, once again, the 35 I think still is like the ceiling, but I did give out a big a lot of warnings on getting on silver. So if 26 holds, we can expect to move up, but if it doesn't, then bulls are in trouble. My neck is stiff. Usually on Facebook, happen to YouTube, I can share it with a friend. Don't see use Facebook. Well, just kind of smash that like button, share, drop some comments. RARSRUSD. I'll look that up. Guys, thank you all for all the chart recommendations, man. Kind of keep me busy on days like this, mornings like this, pre-market. I don't know what this token is, but I can tell you it's extending. Extending is usually a good thing. It's like a 3-cent token, man. Let me find an older chart. I mean, if doesn't get above 3.039, you can expect to go lower. I don't know what's moving this. All the same chart, really. There's not enough real data on here. Reserve, right? USD. Let's go get the BTC chart. Yeah, no comment, man. No comment. Let's kind of go back and just look at further extensions up. If it clears 5 cents, you know, we could go 7-9, but until it does, it's actually bull flagging. You know, the technicals on this look good. It just retested. Resistance, right? It's becoming support. So you want to see it move up towards 7, maybe 9. I wouldn't FOMO up here. Boyani, thanks, man. We're going to see a broad market retrace. Biden keeps walking. Statement about 2K checks. Before we see a bit, I'm expecting. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's like, "Hey, I want to go like pretty big on some far out American Airlines calls." I'm like, "Hey, man, before we do that, let's see what the market does higher." So if we're gonna see a broad market retrace, maybe we want to see the bull trap first. Maybe we get up to 390s, 400, and then we come back down, right? And that's when we'd want to like BTFD, right? That's when you want to like load the boat on like 2-year out calls. I don't know if we'll go to 302, but I think, and I'd hate to kind of just start projecting it from now, but if we get up to the 400s and start pulling back, we still don't have the next high, right? But before we do that, let me go ahead and highlight something. And talk about broad retraces. A lot of times it's really hard to predict the top, but when in December 2019 or October, I first saw this move. I saw us peeling off this big major fib level without a retest, and I published a paper saying we need a retest of right here of this fib, because if we don't, you know, we're gonna see a big savage correction. And then we saw COVID happen 2 months later, right? And we saw definitely the bear trap. This would be the bear trap, and this would be the bull trap before the liquidity grab, right? And these are two things you want to look forward for. I think this was the bear trap, and if we see the bull trap here, would be time to scale out, maybe buy some more VIX, and then close out at some point. We haven't seen the bull trap yet. Now, can we figure out where the bottom is for these? You know, eventually we can. We just have to. We gotta get that swing high. Until I get that swing high, I can't say what are safe levels to long. Like, you know, when we had the secondary bounce off like 245, right, 254, that's when I was like, you know what, it's time. You know, I think I can do a small account challenge and blow it up in 30 days, 90 days, and that's what I did on this move, from here to here, right, 17,000%. So that's when the big returns come in, right? After liquidity grabs. Now in terms of, you know, if this is gonna bull trap based off the current extension off this bear trap, let's see if we can get a matching fib extension up high. And yeah, like 390 makes sense, 393 makes sense, right? So that would be a good place to start scaling out, taking some risk off the table, especially in terms of indices. Guys, loving all the participation on the tube today. Thank you. It's freaking awesome. I love it. FTCH. Morning coffee with Saber, and I haven't had a sip. Beautiful extending chart. We got some the dip comeback. GoPro Neo. I've not done GoPro yet. We have earnings today, so I mean we can expect some effery to happen. I think FTCH, the next target is 75. Like, to be safe, make it tighter 73. It's just kind of stuck in this bull flagging in this range. So I think 73 to 75. Why does it do that? 73 to 75. And then next up, maybe 99. I don't know anything about the stock, but remember what I said about indices, right? So if like you see your chart hit a fib target as the S&P's hitting a fib target, we called the top on the QQQ using Apple previously a couple months ago, and that's because Apple hit target, and Apple's like the biggest stock in the QQQ, and then next thing you know, it's just like freaking dominoes. Reserve rights. Okay, going back to your questions. Man, weed. I called that rally at the bottom. That was freaking awesome. Let's look at MJ. It extended pretty hard yesterday. Look at that. Freaking smack at the target, man. I'm going to exercise my 13s. Right? Because at this point, it's extended. I've taken a lot of profit on the way out. I've taken like 80% profit on this run. What I'm going to do with my leftover calls, I'm just going to let them exercise or expire worthless, because I've made heaps. And if, you know, if we exercise 13s at 23, that's like we're already making $10 a stock. And I think the next target from here is 31 if we keep running. And, you know, think about what I said on who actually squeezed GME and AMC, right? It wasn't retail. It's never retail. They think it was. Their heads got big, but it's never retail. It's the pension funds, right? So if pensions are in this and they're recalling all their borrowed out shares, it's just what I think they're doing. We're going to see MJ squeeze. We're going to see tlry squeeze. We're going to see CGC squeeze. Look at these charts, man. I signaled these in October. Right here. It was like sub $7 when we bought $7 calls, and it's 26 today. Next 61.8. On tlry. Is 32. Yeah, just let these guys run, man. I exercised my 7.5s at 20, and I'm just gonna let them run. Just sit on it. I'm not really a long-term bagger, but that was a really good bag to buy at a 60% discount beginning of a run. Yeah, man, lots of room. Smash that like button. GRT. I'll check GRT out. And we'll go over GoPro, right? And, you know, once again, think of squeezes. Think of what's going on. And I really think if this is the GRT you're talking about, let me know. It's on the GSE exchange. If it's not the right GRT, let me know so I don't freaking you're probably talking about the crypto. It looks just like that other chart, except for it has not extended yet. It's above the 61.8 at this point. 1.2 is Safu, right? I'd be targeting 1.2 on this chart. Yep, you can see that. All right, what else we got? I think I covered everything. Let's go over the GoPro chart. So if pensions are freaking hanging on to the G Pro, right? Now our 61.8 is up here. Earnings are today, which is shit. Like I hate playing earnings. It's a pure gamble. But we did not like buy weeklies on this, right? I saw this move unfolding like back here. And I said, hey guys, this is going up to 61.8. This looks like a pure reversal chart, and this looks like it's going to go up. So I think 11 and then maybe 22. And we know, like, fundamentally, GoPro has GoPro subscriptions now, and the market loves that recurring subscription structure, even if it's like $5, right? It just adds revenue. These guys went from slinging cameras, which, you know, I got the Hero 9. It's got like a pretty baller lens cover on it now, but they went from selling these cameras to now like charging people $5.99 or $6 a month for storage. And if you didn't know, like 1 minute of 4K footage on a Hero 9 is like 1 gig, right? So people need that cloud storage. And that's what they're doing. Like they figured it out. I think it's finally a profitable company, and it's gonna turn around. Tesla and Amazon, yeah, the big boys, the big names. Everybody wants to know what's up with Tesla. 1026. I can't tell you when it's gonna get up there, but that's the next target. Look at these fibs kind of working for us, right? Look at this beautiful extension. Look at this beautiful extension. Look at this. Have we retested? We have retested. 789 was a BTFD for 1026. So 1026 is the next one on Tesla. So I think everything is gonna blow off. Everything had good earnings. We'll talk about Apple. Had great earnings, best earnings ever. Ate the dust. Amazon 4K, man. I think I'd seen something about Amazon that was going to go down. I just don't remember what it was. Technically speaking, you know, this chart goes sideways and keeps blowing off. They own everything. What else? Twitter, man. Dude, man, I really think Jack's going to do another stupid move. Every time Twitter goes up to 52-week high, Jack does something stupid and it crashes. And last time it was a Trump, right? Bans Trump, chart dumps. You gotta stop doing that, Jack. I don't think he wants a stock to moon. But realistically, I was showing a buddy what I see on Twitter, and the reason I'm positioned in Twitter leaps and Twitter calls and I'm aggressive on Twitter. This pattern right here, I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like. Let's go to like a 3-day just to condense it a little more. 3-day, motherfucker. Right? So we're looking at this is the 3-day chart on Twitter. Okay. We're gonna compare it to Facebook. Let's go to the weekly. You guys see the resemblance there before Facebook ran? Right? Like when I see setups like this, I really think Twitter's getting ready for its biggest year, right? Like if you were to fib that, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this swing high, this swing low on Facebook, and so pretty much correlating the move We broke above the 61. We're here back at the 1. So like imagine getting in on Facebook stock at 33 before the run up to 73, right? So like I'm talking in terms of fib levels, the next run up pretty much took out everything. It took out 67, 76, 81, and like 124. So that's one of the reasons I've got a pretty big Twitter position right now. CRSR. Crosshair Gaming. That looks pretty bullish, man. Problem is, here's what I don't like. I don't like IPOs. I freaking hate IPOs because there's no like let's look at like Uber IPO, right? I don't ever trade IPOs. I wait till they go below below like, then we have a consolidate. Like we got an Uber, we still have $50 calls in Uber. And I think we're going up to 61, right? Like we got these $50 calls back when it was at 34 and we scaled out on, above, and I'm leaving a couple of them open just to let it run because I got plenty of expiration. But that the Crosshair, right? That IPO, for all we know, it's doing this, right? For all we know, it could be up here, and it just hasn't had enough time for me to give it a good valuation to dip my feet in. And a lot of times, I'd much rather miss out and play something safe because that's how I know I'm more comfortable making money, right? Yeah. So Bezos stepped down as CEO? That's crazy. That's what it was. I don't even read news, man. VLDR. Let's check that out. Sounds like a Russian stock. Like a Vladimir or Vlad. Velodine LiDAR. What books do I recommend on analysis? Man, they're all in my living room. So there's this book. It's technical analysis 4th edition, right? It is really good because it's gonna give you. Here's how I started, and I'll be real. I listened to every audiobook by Crater because he talks about like momentum stocks, rubber band stocks. He's got like a different book on every strategy, and you might want to listen to all of them. But I'll tell you from now, none of those strategies really work, but it really helped me as like understand perspective and develop my own, right? Nobody's going to give you their edge in a book, but the more perspectives you understand, the better ideas you have to trade a market. So VLDR at 24.63 is the resistance, right? Now it's doing like a cup and handle possibly. If we close above, it's probably going to go on a big run, right? Earnings are coming up in February 25th, so you got like 3 weeks of earnings. It's really hard to assess a chart before we get a close above the 61.8 and consolidation above there. Now, if you like bought here, right, and your strike is 25, I'd say hold it for a few weeks. You got time. And a lot of times when I trade options, my stop loss is my position size, right? So I'm okay with making a donation. Crater is KRATTER. Start with that. If you have no understanding of like any technical strategies, listen to all of his technical books about like Bollinger Bands and momentum stocks and understand that. And like learn about, that's a really good position you're in, I think. All right, YFI and UNFI. So listen to all those strategies and just gain perspective. the more perspective you have, the more prepared you are to deal with a momentum stock or with an oversold stock. And then technical analysis, 4th edition by Kirkpatrick, right? That's a really good one. It's almost like a college textbook, and just read it and study it and look at all the formations, and that's a really good one. Spend time in Discord. If you really want to get good at TA, that's all we do all day, every day. YFI can go to 54,000, man. If this isn't a bull trap, I think. It's kind of scary, right? It's a scary target, and it's totally like kind of setting up in a wedge trajectory. And I'm not a big Elliott wave guy, right? But I can tell you, you don't want to short before the 5th. And if that's, I wouldn't call that a 1 because it's not higher than this last one, but that's kind of your 1, right? That's your 2, that's your 3, that's your 4. Your 5 can be the terminal, right? And whether that's an ending diagonal or a leading diagonal. If that's leading diagonal, then you're going to see a pullback here and then continuation up, right? So, and I'm not the Elliott wave technician, I'll say that now, but I do have a basic understanding of wave analysis. If you want like an overall book that teaches you a little bit about all the different principles, the CMT level 1 workbook, it's designed for you to pass a market technician test. So that's a really good one, but it's not going to dive in and teach you a lot of one thing, but it's just going to, once again, gain a lot of perspective, then find your niche, find where you fit in the market. I started with BTC. Literally, that was the first chart I analyzed. So you can zoom back. We got DVR enabled. I had a CCIV, sorry Steven, on Facebook. The Churchill group. Man, I would get out, man. Like, runs like this. What the fuck is this? Excuse my French. Jesus. Yeah, man, I'd like get out and dodge at this point. You know, I was trying to find like my highest target would have been 24. It's like it's blowing off even more. Let's get a more defined Jesus Christ, what is this? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Well, you know, if they invest in crypto, I still think crypto is owed a big correction, right? Like, one thing, see, in the Rubber Band Stocks book, he talks about, you know, how a chart, you know, we've seen this time and time again, a chart is only ready to go higher and make a new all-time high after it, like, liquidates all the longs and shakes out every bull. Sweet. All right, fam bam. I think I covered everything. Market opens in 15 minutes. It's open, but you know, options start in 15 minutes. Thank you guys for being in on this stream. Thank you for recommendations. Smash that like button. Please share this video with a friend. Drop it in your favorite Facebook group. Help us out. And hop into Discord. If you're new, message one of the admins. We'll get you a guest pass so you can see everything we do. And trade safe. Trade safe. See you guys next time. Subscribe too. All right. Much love.